Okay, go ahead.
Well, I realized that all they were talking about is without the captain this would happen, without the captain that would happen, but we're not talking about getting rid of the captain. We know that would be a bad idea. We're talking about lowering, like, putting limits on their power. If they can do whatever they want, we're practically, the crew is their slaves, pretty much. They can do whatever they want. And also the ship owners pretty much care about their money because they want a good ship that's clean. So that way they're not wasting their money. So they should try to care more about the crew and how they're feeling about it, because without a crew, it's just a ship and there's nothing, it's doing nothing. It's just a big pile of wood, pretty much.
Okay, so,
We're not finished.
Oh yeah, no, Naval, we're not your turn yet.
I believe that the captain's powers should be limited because one of the captain's tortured his crew.
it is possible to kill or badly wound crew while punishing them, and while the captain wants a successful voyage that gets them to where they need to go. But if they keep whipping and hurting their crew that does all the work to get them to that place, then basically that voyage is gonna fail.
Well, another thing is they really badly punish the people who broke those little tiny rules. Like, let's say you tie a knot wrong on the mast, they'll harshly punish them. And if you do something a little like rag, you could get whipped. It's just really, really unfair.
Nobody wants to get tied to a pole. Who does these days?
Yes.
Yes, the sailors are more inexperienced than the captain, but it's kind of the captain's job to teach them like how to be like the best sailor they can be. But if the captain whips them, it's like that's teaching the sailors that if they ever become a captain, it's going to be okay to whip their sailors, and that can only lead to bad things.
Well, I also believe that the captain's power should be limited because one captain tortured his crew, and a captain should only be able to hurt his crew if they are committing mutiny, and even that should probably be lower depending on like how bad it is. If they're like refusing to do something, they should be severely punished. They should be told, like, hey, you need to stop doing that, because they're acting as though there's no such thing as a consequence unless it requires giving people pain. There's consequences without pain, torture.
I mean, food can be like scarce on a ship. Like you could just like take away their food for a day. I mean, it's not as bad as like almost bleeding to death to a whip.
Yeah, those are like permanent injuries. I mean, you could lower their salary like they suggested, and they probably would quit. But whipping isn't the answer. There's other punishments and consequences than torture.
Violence is never the answer.
Guys, close your books.
Yeah. Oh, alright,
It is unfair and cruel that the captain can punish by death for something that's really bad. Like we're talking about, like, you know, not like murder or anything, but something like really bad, like messing up the voyage or something. Just because, and also like just because the captain is angry, they might just like punish the crew. So like if he's in a bad mood, you know, there might be like 5 people who get like a bad punishment that day. So just if the captain is in a bad mood, it can affect the whole entire ship during that day.
By the way, there was like a lot, like they were saying like just go get a new job. People back in those times were really like, you're rich, you can do this. You're poor, you can't do this. So I bet a sailor was like one of the only jobs, decent jobs that you could get if you were poor. But if you were one of the richer people, why not just buy your own ship? So I bet all the sailors, this was like their only choice, or some really, really bad job.
And also, they might not want to get a new job because maybe they like being on the sea and maybe they like working on a ship. They just don't like being tortured and bleed every day if their captain gets a little frustrated.
Questions from the Naval Review Board?
Okay, so why do you care if you're not on the ship yourself? Why do you guys care?
Like, why do you care?
Because if we didn't care, people are just getting tortured because of the problem. And with, like, you're bleeding because of that problem.
Yeah, they're hurting other people, and we could prevent that with the help of you guys.
And we're their friends too, who also like believe that what the captain is doing isn't right. I mean, like, we're all humans, right?
Yeah, like, even if we're not fighting a war, we could still believe, man, we should end that because thousands of people are dying. Just because we're not there doesn't mean we don't have to care. And that it doesn't mean we don't care. I mean, we care that people are getting tortured and hurt. And that could be prevented.
Thousands?
Not
Well,
thousands.
I said, like, in wars, just because people aren't fighting them doesn't mean they don't want it to end. I mean, if America's fighting a war, people care. Just because you're not there doesn't mean you don't care.
And why do you agree with the crew if you aren't there to witness what is happening?
Well, it's
Could
one
be
of
like
those
we
things.
just saying,
It's
why
one
do
of
we
those
have to be
worse
there
than
to
you
care?
think, or it could be.
You just said, why do we have to be there to care?
It's like
You're
that's
not off fighting a war, but you still care about America.
yeah.
You care.
It's kind of
It's like if America lost a battle and we got invaded, you would care, even though you weren't there to lose the battle.
But if you're not there to witness it, how do you know it's true?
Well, it's
Well,
just
because
bad.
they have
Because
you
they're
think
being
really
whipped.
lie
They
about
could show
being whipped?
scars.
Seriously.
people, they show
Why would
One at a time.
Why would someone just go out of their way just to say, "Oh, well, I got whipped," and why would someone lie about that? And even they could even show them like where they got whipped, because that would probably leave a scar. And if it was like fresh and the captain just got mad, then you'd probably still be bleeding a ton. And I don't think anyone would help you because they'd probably be punished. So you'd probably be bleeding and have scars. So you can't really fake that.
The last question from the Naval Review Board?
And if this is true that they are getting whipped, what are you gonna do to change that?
We're gonna
Asking
ask
you.
you guys.
And either way, I don't see why you don't believe that they're getting whipped. Otherwise,
I mean, like, there's,
I mean,
there's
that's
proof
kind of the point
on
of
them.
this
Like,
thing.
they get whipped. There's a scar. They're bleeding.
You're
We're authors. We can write books about it.
There,
Yeah.
we see that you can just look it up and see it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not true.
You're
It's
acting like
there.
we're lying to you, but they say it's true. They're the crew. They've been whipped. They've been bleeding and tortured.
I'm like, that's not
We're
they
saying
did.
that,
Why
and
would
if you
you
don't
lie
you
about
believe
it?
them, and now that we're saying it, you don't believe us. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
It's
switching
It's
sides.
Well, we're not saying we don't believe you, but we are like asking you, like, how exactly do you know? We're not saying we don't believe
well, why
Because
would
of the
people
crew.
you.
lie?
Lie in the book.
No, just why would people lie in general about something this big?
Why would they fake
But-
scars?
Like, but one more thing. Again, why would you? It's like lying about being in. It's like lying about being, like shot or something in a war. This is basically the same thing.
Just on a
Why
smaller
would you
scale.
lie about that? This is basically the same thing. Why would you lie about that?
There's no point in that. Just saying.
Thanks, kiddos. Can you go ahead and stop my iPads for me, please? Naval Review Board, you're going to need to go in the hallway and make your decision while we do